Joining us now is David Remnick. He is editor of The New Yorker. He's also a former Moscow correspondent for The Washington Post. He won a Pulitzer Prize for a book he wrote based on his time there, which is called Lenin's Tomb, The Last Days of the Soviet Empire. Mr. Remnick, it's a real pleasure to have you here.
Good to see you.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I'm asking those questions in that introduction tonight because I honestly don't know what the answer to them is, but I feel like our assumptions are getting a little wobbly. Our expectations about Putin's behavior, not just toward Ukraine, but toward us, are starting to be mismatched with what we're seeing from him in reality. Do you think that's fair?
I think it's very fair. Let's put it this way. I woke up deliberately at 4:30 in the morning, hoping to read in real time or watch Putin's speech on Red Square. As you pointed out in your really excellent summation of what happened today and what's going on, May 9th is always a big deal because it is the great national unifying narrative, the victory in what's called the Great Patriotic War. As important as it is here, it's in many ways much more important in Soviet history and even in the post-Soviet space. He said nothing. You have it exactly right. I read immediately in Russian and then in English thinking, my Russian is lagging. I read it on the Kremlin website and I kept waiting for the payoff pitch. And it never came. It never came. And what you found there was just the resuscitation, the repetition of what I would call a salvation narrative. He can't possibly say in real terms why he invaded Ukraine. He invaded Ukraine because he wants to do battle with the West after long years of resentment. He invaded Ukraine because it was growing fitfully, more and more democratic, more and more away from Russia, and more away from his conception of some form of modern imperial Russia. So he needs a vocabulary for that to relate to the Russian people, and it's not there. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the invention of Nazis comes from. Yes, there are people there are some people who are on the far right nationalists in Ukraine, but to call this a national trend or to not fail to see or to fail to see that nationalism comes from somewhere is to know nothing about Ukrainian history.
Or the idea that Putin has a problem with far-right nationalism. I mean, given Russia,
far-right nationalists right. all over the place in Russia, including in his own house.
Yeah.
And he's losing it. He's losing it. And, I thought I was full of news here having read, a Russian website all about lenta.ru and all those amazing things that went up. And you obviously, you had it. And it's a terrific thing. It made me think of a different time. In 1968, the Soviet Union invaded Czechoslovakia to put down what was called the Prague Spring. What happened? Nothing happened. Right? In Soviet terms. 7 or 8 very brave people, including somebody pushing a baby carriage, came to Red Square and took out banners and said, Czechoslovakia, we are with you. We're against this invasion. Within a minute, predictably, KGB officers, who are obviously guarding Red Square in the Kremlin, were on these people, beat the hell out of them, and all those people were arrested. And most went off to prison camps. Pavel Litvinov, somebody I wrote about in Lenin's Tomb many, many years ago. That was a 1-minute-long, almost invisible protest. And it had immense repercussions with the years. The dissident movement was inspired by it. Sakharov was inspired by it, became more and more overtly Andrei Sakharov, leader of a dissident movement. It's hard to know what instances like this demonstration on Lenta.ru of incredible bravery. Or that woman who some weeks ago ran behind the TV presenter and also...
During the nightly news, yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes, incredible.
And I think the presumption is that everybody is for this war because everybody listens to propaganda television, and that's that. I think as time goes by, because people are not stupid, because mothers are receiving phone calls from their sons at the front, because casualties are building up, and the economic repercussions are making themselves known, that the ability to keep all this information out of the public consciousness will recede. And his problems will not only be just military. His problems will not only be just his confrontations with the West, but I think it is entirely possible that as his fury grows, so too will his problems.
Which should change our expectations in terms of what he believes he can ask the Russian people for, or he can tell the Russian people they're about to deliver.
What we were waiting for this morning
was a big mobilization.
Mobilization.
Yes.
So people that were reservists, kids from all over the country, or young men from all over the country, first of all, that would have enormous economic repercussions. It would heighten alarm among the general population about what's at stake in Ukraine. Why is this taking so long? What is this special military operation? It seems a lot more serious than that. And the nonsense begins to corrode. You know, one of the information things that happened this week is an awful guy on Russian television named Vladimir Solovyov. And he runs some spectacular propaganda television shows. He was sent to Mariupol to kind of lead the propaganda. Imagine Tucker Carlson being sent to, I don't know, Charlottesville to whip up the fervor in a kind of civil war. That's the move. That's the move. And it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work.
He was supposed to inspire the people of Mariupol to get excited about Russia invading them?
Well, and also to be filmed and show it to the folks back home.
Right. David Remnick.
That we're liberators.
This understanding about how what the room in which Putin feels he can maneuver, even if he is, as you say, losing it, I think is going to change the American calibration in terms of how much we can maneuver and how he may respond. And I feel like we are only starting to figure it out.